So the reason why I'm making this video is because I want you to understand what's going to happen. Okay, so number one, it will spike. But the point being is it is going to spike. Here's why I'm making this video. The media, your friends on Facebook and social media are going to blow it up. The media is going to be like, oh my God, the number's going to go. We already know this. The government already knows this. We know this. Now, I'm going to give you a reason why we know this. Well, number one, because that's what happens when viruses come out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example of how bacteria and stuff works and why it has to spike. It actually has to spike. And I'm going to explain that in the next segment. But first, what I want you to understand is that okay, this is the whole point of the video, right here. Don't worry when the media blows it up out of proportion. Don't worry when it's blasted everywhere, because what I want to prepare you for is when it spikes, don't flip out. I promise you. We don't really know how long it's going to last, whether it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I don't know. But it is going to spike and it's going to go for a while. I don't think it's going to be as long as China, because China had no preparation at all, whereas we've already shut our schools down, the gyms, all sports are shut down, anything where large gatherings is shut down. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So we're prepared. We're taking a lot of measures, which is a really good thing. The reason why the government wants you to stay inside, it's just like cycling a fish tank. For you fish tank people, you already know what I'm about to say. There's something called nitrite, nitrate, and ammonia. When you first make a fish tank, you can't put fish in there because they'll die within a day or so. Because here's what happens is, there's healthy bacteria, right? And that healthy bacteria, when the nitrite raises and spikes, the healthy bacteria starts to eat it and it starts to raise, and there's a lot of it populates. So now you've got a balance of healthy bacteria. What actually happens is, so the nitrite spikes and the healthy bacteria eats it and it begins to multiply and grows and grows and grows, and then the spike drops off and everything balances out and everything's healthy. I'm going to explain what this has to do with the hospitals. Then what happens is when that drops off, then the nitrate goes up and that starts to spike, and that can kill your fish too, right? So then again, the bacteria loves to eat that. That's another food for it. So it eats that and gobbles it up and it multiplies, and then the spike drops off, right? And then comes the ammonia. So next thing you know, the ammonia spikes and goes up, and the ammonia can kill your fish also, okay? If it gets too high. And once again, that's another food for the healthy bacteria, and it eats it and eats it, and everything balances out. Now that you have lots of healthy bacteria, everything is fine, unless something throws the system off. All right, now watch this. All right, this is going to do with what's going on with the hospitals right now and why they're keeping you inside, okay? All right, so sometimes, okay, so here's what will throw the ammonia off. If you've got a fish tank and you got a filter on there, you're only allowed, God, how big was a fish tank? It was like 18 or 20 gallons. You're only allowed like 8 fish, and it depends on how big they are. You're kind of thinking, 8 fish? That sucks. Like, well, it'll throw off the nitrates and the ammonia, and it'll kill the fish because the poop makes ammonia, from the fish, and the food makes ammonia. So there's all these things that make ammonia, and that you're adding to it, and it will spike it again, right? So then another thing that will make it spike is if you put too many fish in. But if you put like 1 or 2 fish in, it spikes a little bit, but not enough to even bother the fish. It doesn't burn their gills, and they're fine. No big deal. Okay, so this is why they want people to stay home, because if less people get the virus immediately anyways, then the hospitals won't be overwhelmed, so the spike won't be too big. Therefore, they'll have plenty of ventilators to help the people to breathe, and hospital beds so people can make it through this. Because the whole thing about this virus is, there's really only number one thing about it is, you just have to stay alive long enough to make it through it, just like when you get a really bad flu, because your body builds up immunity. Now, immunity is equivalent to the bacteria, to the filter, and the plants in the fish tank, because the plants eat the bacteria, the plants eat the nitrite, and the ammonia. And so does the filter, the bacteria. They also eat those three things also. So it has a balancing act. So yes, number one, this is going to spike. The goal is to keep the spike at a small to medium spike to where the hospitals have enough ventilators and enough beds to deal with the people, so they can go to so the people that get it really bad, because some people's immune systems are a lot weaker. It's just like a fish tank that doesn't have enough bacteria in it. When you throw the fish in there, the weaker fish are going to die off sooner. But if you can get enough ventilators to enough people, it's going to be fine. So then a couple weeks later, more people will get it and they'll have to go to the hospital, and the hospitals have already pushed out the people that are already healed, and everything's going to be fine. So that's why they want to keep you at home and say, hey, you need to, hunker down, or what do they call it? Stay at home and, ride this thing out. Okay. So everything is going to be fine. Most countries have got this under control right now. So one thing I want to clarify, I've already had friends call the clinics and the hospitals and the doctors, and they're reporting on Facebook like they're telling us to stay home. Here's why: because it's not that bad for most people. That's what you have to understand. They're like, because the media makes it sound like if you catch it, you're all going to die. No, 96.5% of the people are going to get no symptoms, low symptoms, or mild to medium symptoms, and they're just going to tell you to stay home and quarantine yourself for 14 days. It's the people that have really weakened immune systems that are in danger. It's just like in the fish tank. When you've got nitrates spiking, it's the weakened fish that are going to die first, okay? So that's pretty much it. And if you are really sick, like you've got a spiking temperature of 104 or 102, and you're really sick, yeah, you probably should go into the hospital, okay? All right, I hope this helps. So here's the deal. This literally is a numbers game. So in the beginning, they want everyone to stay inside. So when the first wave or second wave gets through the hospital and they build up immunity using the ventilators, etc., all of a sudden they're going to tell society, you know what, you can go back to work, everything's going to be fine. This is actually going to pass a lot sooner than you think. It's going to be about 3 weeks to 6 weeks, maybe even sooner. I don't think it's going to be less than 3 weeks. So these first two waves are not going to be that big of a deal, and people are going to be going back to work a lot sooner than they think. So enjoy yourself, have fun inside. I'm going to be making videos about all kinds of things that are more upbeat, happier, enlightening, male to female communication, dating, relationship coaching. In fact, I tell you what, since you're going to be indoors, women, why don't you buy my books for women, Why Men Just Don't Get It? And men, go ahead and buy my book, Crack the Female Code, or The Ultimate Package. Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Remember, go to Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, MikeKollin.com. I'll see you guys soon.